What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Hopefully everybody had a solid Monday night of NBA DFS. I'm getting a little fed up with these monster slates and then tiny slates. Like, give me one of those sweet 5 to 8 game slates. It's like there's either too many good plays or we're trying to pick from a bunch of games we aren't really interested in. I know most of you guys enjoy that sweet middle spot as well.
Yeah, kind of like that sweet middle. I like the smaller, uglier slates. I'm just not really sure that there's that many places that I love tonight, but it's only early. It's still early, so.
Right, and we had the 3-game slate on Sunday, and then we found out Kawhi was sitting, so obviously there's adjustments that might need to be made. I just always like the 5 to 8 gamers as opposed to like the 3s and the 11s, because like a lot of you guys last night when you're trying to create your favorite lineup, or even if you're doing a little bit of multi-entry, like there's legitimately like 29 dudes you want to roster and just not enough spots to fit them all.
Yep.
All right, guys. So anyways, either way, I got 2 questions for the public. Feel free to throw them in the comments section. Who is your MVP? Obviously, that's, we're 3/4 of the way through the year right now. And who's got the best chance to dethrone Golden State this year? We talked about this one briefly yesterday, that it's been a long time since I would have taken the field over Golden State. And it's getting to the point right now that there's a couple teams in the field I think have real chances to at least push them at the very minimum. Who's got the best shot? Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, Boston? I mean, there's teams you can make an argument for, but who would be your best shot to beat Golden State in a 7-game series?
So for the first question, and we talk about this, it seems like on a daily basis now, and I don't want to speak for the public, and I know I like to bust your balls a little bit, but Giannis is the MVP. I mean, it's only a question because it gives us something to talk about, right? Like, in my opinion, he's going to run away with the award because Milwaukee has the best record in the league. They're, surprised a ton of people. Giannis has been the best player. He's the most exciting player in the league. He's the best defensive player in the league, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Is LeBron's time over? They were just talking about that on First Take. Is he no longer the best player in the league? He's obviously still hurt right now, and I can't dethrone LeBron James yet. I just can't do it. But that time's coming. He is older right now. He's played a lot of games in the NBA, and I don't want to give it to him right now because he's injured. He's clearly not himself.
You were talking about Marcus Gasol yesterday, and like how you were saying he's a little bit younger than you. He's like my age. LeBron James is my age. He's a month younger than me. We're from about 25 minutes away from each other. So yeah, he's getting up there, no doubt. I'm going to be 35 this year. So
yeah, man, it's I want to see it happen, and we might have to wait till next year for LeBron because those soft tissue injuries have a tendency to linger.
And here's why, just real quick on that. Here's why I thought that Philly was honestly the best place for him to go, because I thought that if he went to Philly this year, he could kind of lead a Simmons and Embiid core and take them really far. And then when he kind of in a couple years really starts to digress, they could have carried him. Now, I get it. The fit isn't necessarily amazing, et cetera. But, man, this Laker team, unless they bring in a couple studs next year, are going to have some problems.
Yeah, they'll have a huge overhaul in the offseason. We'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, just to reiterate, we're running the Patreon drive. It only takes a minimum $2 pledge. First, as soon as we get to 8, we'll do a drawing. You got a 12.5% chance of winning a free month. Anyways, got a bunch of new members yesterday. Welcome aboard, guys. Love to have you. If you want to sign up for the full membership, we'd love to have you. Subscribe if you're new to the station. Thumbs up is always appreciated. Let's move into today's picks. I'm going to start with Al Horford of the Boston Celtics. Now, this one veers away from the way I typically like to evaluate DFS. I like to expose weaker matchups, and typically Toronto is not a weaker matchup. That being said, Al Horford plays big in big games. I went through and I looked through his entire season this year. In big games versus good opponents, he's pretty much been gold about 80-90% of the time. He recently dropped 62 on the first-place Milwaukee Bucks. A couple days before that, dropped a 50 spot on Philly, 39 versus OKC. His games versus Toronto this year, 30, 39, and 46.5. He dropped 50 against Golden State, 38 in the other game he played against the Bucks, and 40 in the other game against OKC. Those are the most of the best teams in the league. He's been really good in almost every single one. I think he had like a bad game against Philly. That's about it. So he plays big against big opponents. And this is a big game. Boston, you don't want to be that 5 seed. You would like to get up into the top half at the very minimum. Toronto is right there in that 2 seed. We got 2 of the better teams in the NBA going at it tonight. Potential playoff matchup. I think you see big game bag Al Horford play big again tonight.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I have some interest in the studs from this game and running it back like we did earlier in the year. But Horford is just rock solid here. I was thinking about this earlier because I was looking at Horford. It's hard to really say this, but I think that Al Horford is one of the most underrated players of this generation. He's not flashy, he's not sexy, but
no,
man,
he's not.
He is so consistent, and he's rock solid. And you hear from anyone that's played with him, and he's like a godsend. He steps up in big games. I love that point. And this is a huge game. Both teams want/need a win here. I like everything about Horford in this spot.
Yeah, it's more exciting of a real life game, in my opinion, than it is for DFS. But we only have 3 games tonight, and none of these games are exactly, Hawks versus Kings. So you got to pick from one of the 3 games. None of them scream monster DFS points. So I'm looking at a guy who plays big in big games. I look at, like you said, Toronto and Boston both need this game. Boston dropped one against Chicago. Toronto lost to the Magic. I know it was off Kawhi, but this is an important game.
2 kind of similar games in Boston, Toronto, and Denver, OKC, and then a wild card game in the Magic and Knicks, because you just never know what to expect from the Knicks.
No, you do not. All right, Paul Millsap. I brought him up the other day. You've brought him up to me every day since then. Man, is he playing great. Go ahead.
Okay. So I don't want to be a victim to game log watching, but honestly, just check the game log here. He's balling right now. You made a couple points the last time we talked him over that this is who he is. Not necessarily like the 8 to 10 times upside, but he's a guy that's really productive, does a ton of things, gets a lot of peripherals. This is another game, like I just mentioned, kind of like the Boston Toronto game, where it doesn't scream DFS appeal, but we only have 3 games, and these teams are very, very comparable in my opinion. What's not to like about Millsap right now?
I inserted an NBA Jam picture right now to show that he's on fire. He's just flat out on fire. And again, I don't expect this guy to rack up 50-point game after 50-point game, but we've seen him in the past have complete seasons where he's averaged about 37 or 38 DK points per game. There's a reason that they're paying this guy, tens of millions of dollars every single year. He's had some injury issues since coming to Denver, but he looks like the Millsap that we know he can be. They're riding the hot hand. I believe Trey Lyles is still out. I should have double-checked that. I did not, which is just one more potential power forward who could potentially eat some time away from him, which is no longer an issue. And while Denver is really, really strong in the backcourt as far as depth is concerned, they're not as strong in the front court. Like, I like Hernan Gomez, but he's not nearly on the level of Jokic and Millsap.
No, like in the in the playoffs, won't be surprised if Hernan Gomez doesn't play much at all.
Exactly. Like, he might be out there for 5 minutes a game or less, and he will have some DNPs.
Exactly. Plumlee's over him. Plumlee's good, but he's just a guy to fill in minutes. I think you're 100% right there. In their dream world, they'd always have Jokic and Millsap out there.
Exactly. And this is his best stretch of 3 games in forever.
Yeah.
And the 50 points is high end. I don't expect 50 here from him tonight because he's just really not a 50-point per game guy. But he is a 35 to 40-point per game guy if he's playing the minutes and he's healthy. And he appears to beat both of those right now.
Exactly. And he didn't get a price increase after that last monster game. So if he gives you that 35 to 40 like we expect here, he's really a nice piece.
All right, guys. I just put out an Instagram video on him. I'll make this one simple. No muss, no fuss, just play Russ. It's the Occam's razor pick of the day. He's averaging close to 68 DK points over his last 10 games. We've already brought up that we have some desire to use this one. He's a Roto-Grinders front page cover boy today. It's really difficult not to play him on this slate. There are a few value picks out there that make him affordable. His price is down. He averages 5.5 times value based on this price.
Yeah, it's not a lot to not like here. The only way getting away from him, in my opinion, is, doing a kind of game stack of another game in tournaments, which is in play because it's only a 3-game slate. That said, if you're just picking, the best pieces, he's probably one of them.
It's really difficult not to play him in cash games. And what Matt brought up with the game stack is usually apropos on a 3-game slate like this. And what you're talking about is, game stacking Knicks Magic and thinking that OKC or Denver just run away with this one and that Russ doesn't play a full allotment of his, usual 36, 37 minutes per game. That can happen. I expect this game to be competitive. So for me, it's really tough not to use him because I pretty much stick with one lineup. But that would be the idea behind not using him. And who knows? I mean, Denver's really good. Thunder are really good. They could easily win this game by 20, either one of them. Yeah,
I think we definitely expect this game to be close. And for me, it's just there is some interest and we'll get into it in members only, in Kawhi and Kyrie. And obviously rostering all 3 of them is tough. But again, if you're making a cash lineup, you're rocking in Westbrook. And if you're just picking the 8 best pieces, which is always a great way to do it, then Westbrook is going to be one of them.
I mean, what do you think his ownership will be on a slate like this? Because my guess in cash games would be 80%.
I was going to say about 80 and about 60 in tournaments.
right? And it is possible for Russ not to succeed, but over the past month, he's playing like the old school Russell Westbrook that we know, triple doubles every single night. He's shooting the ball at a significantly higher rate compared to how he struggled earlier in the year, doing a little bit of everything, looking like the former MVP that we know him to be. He's really looked good lately. It's tough to veer away from him. And if I was to veer away from it, it would probably be in that game stack scenario that you alluded to.
Yeah, that's about the only way I can think of. So, yeah, it's a fade at your own risk type situation here.
Most stuff. All right. Speaking of dudes that are on fire, Damian Dotson, and I think the number one point we can bring up, it is the New York Knicks. Anybody on their roster not named Kevin Knox is a walking DNP possibility. That being said, we have zero reason, no evidence, no theory, no reason to believe that would happen to Dotson today. He is playing extremely aggressive and extremely confident right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel queasy about this, and I don't want to go here. But again, there's something to be said for looking at the game log. And I don't want to be a victim to game log watching, but kind of gives you a good read on how guys have been playing. As you mentioned, he's playing really aggressive right now, playing with a ton of confidence. Again, I don't feel easy about recommending this guy, but we need cheap value on this slate. And I think the Knicks are going to be a place where we're going to have to get it from. Obviously, we're going to want to wait and see what happens with DeAndre Jordan. But as you mentioned, it seems like they like what they have in Dotson. They want to see what they got. Kadeem Allen, for legit reasons or not, got sent to the D League, so that just clears one less guy. It's a murky situation here, but it's going to be hard to play this slate and not use a Knick or two.
Every time the Knicks are out there, it's scary. I mean, we've talked about this. Every other DFS tout's probably brought this up at some point, and every one of you watching this who plays this game with any regularity knows it. The New York Knicks is where DFS
dreams go to die.
Stability goes to die, right?
Yeah.
Like, you never know what they want to do. Kevin Knox is the only guy that I feel I can say with great certainty will see a consistent number of minutes on a daily basis. You saw him do Canner dirty. Vonleh has, looked like a DFS stud and then been a DNP the next game. Luke Cornett's been in and out of the lineup. You already mentioned Kadeem Allen. Alonzo Trier has been up and down. Moutier has been up and down. You never know what you're going to get with them, but we have no reason to believe that they won't run. I'm assuming he'll be starting today. I'm assuming he'll go back out there. And playing a guy like Dotson is like playing a mediocre baseball player who is 14 for his last 18. He's just hot right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great comparison. And you don't expect it to continue, but you don't necessarily expect him to go like 0 for 5 today. You expect him to do something.
No, if there was a team that you would think that might happen with, it would be the Knicks, but we only got 6 teams to choose from today.
Exactly. On a big slate, I wouldn't even touch this game, but it's not a big slate.
Yeah, if this was last night, I would say screw it. I know he's capable of 10 times upside, but it's the Knicks. I mean, we just saw him get close to that. I'm not going to touch him, but on a 3-game slate, I mean, you got to look at everybody at least a little bit.
Yeah, that's the difference. I mean, yesterday we had guys like Kelly Olynyk at 3,900 starting against the Suns with, basically no bench. Today, you got to dig a little bit deeper. It's just what it is.
So it's the Knicks. I use the word queasy. Every time I roster a Knick, I feel queasy, but if I was going to play a guy today, he would be one of the top Knicks to look at.
Got to be.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys a little bit later on. Have a great day, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, guys.